I'm Karin. Welcome to my world. I want to talk some more about 2012 and the different kinds of New Year's we had there and what happened to the human race and the path forward in connection with that. I want to start out by saying that when I talk about any information as facts, it just means that to me they are. It's information that I feel connected to, that I feel is valid for me. You don't have to feel the same way. It's all up to you. But I also don't feel that I need to convince you. I'm just passing on information, and it's up to you what you want to do with it. Where I left off, in 2012, we celebrated 3 New Years. We had the Earth New Year, which was 365 days, the Earth rotating around the Sun. We had the New Year that we passed of our universe rotating around the central sun of the galaxy. That central sun is a black hole, and that rotation takes 5,126 years approximately. But we also started a new cycle of what we call progression through the zodiac signs. It's the axis of the Earth that moves through all 12 zodiac signs over a period of 26,000 years. So that was a pretty big thing. Now, usually every 26,000 years, the human race restarts. It's like a computer, you turn it all off and you turn it back on again. For that, we've self-destructed pretty much every time, not completely, but to a very large degree. And every 26,000 years, we have the option of being sufficiently evolved, being sufficiently high vibrating, that we don't have to start completely over again. And we had that choice this time as well. And for the first time in the history of Earth, we chose differently. This time we did not restart. This time we continued. And I have to be honest and say I'm not entirely sure how that came about, but what has popped up, at least in Kryon channelings, is what you call the harmonic convergence in 1987. When I joined the New Age movement in the 2000s, there were still jokes being made, even among New Age people, about the harmonic convergence. It was something about you need 100,000 people to send love or something at a specific time when the planets align. And if enough people do that, then we will pass the marker and we don't have to self-destruct and we can move on this new path after 2012. That was the general idea. And everyone made fun of it, but there must have been 100,000 people because that is what happened. Now, does anyone else remember what happened in 1987? Because I do. The wall fell. I, for one, had absolutely not ever expected the Soviet Union to just fall apart, to just give up, to just say to the countries, okay, you're done, you can go now. That was a complete and utterly turn of events that I don't think anyone really had expected. And that tells me something, because unexpected is not part of repeating a pattern over and over again every 26,000 years. Unexpected is, to me, a sign that something different is happening. Now, 2012, you'd think, okay, so we have this new year, we have 3 of them, 2012, and we're all set to go, and it's all brand new. But it's not quite that easy, and it's not quite that fast. Changes takes a lot of time, and the longer the cycle, the longer time it takes for the changes to be noticeable. And it seems there's a window of 18 years on either side of 2012. So we're looking at a kind of curve that goes like, well, let's see, we got it. There we go. Where the top of the curve would be 2012. But there's a lot of curve on either side. And it's pretty steep in several places. So the curve leading up to really big changes leading up to 2012 would have started in 1994 and will have tapered off by 2030. So that's another 10 years of intense changes. So we're not done yet. Just because we passed into 2012, we're not done. But what is interesting to me and what I do feel is true is that it's a new path. I mentioned this before. We've been doing cycles. We've been doing 26,000 years. Restarted, that means killing off most of the human race, trying again. 26,000 years, restarting, trying again. Now, this time, we didn't have to restart. This time, we're heading somewhere new. And we're heading somewhere where I honestly believe there's going to be more and more light. And what happens when you shine light in all the dark corners? If you've had a basement, no one's been cleaning up there for ages, everyone's just dumping their junk in there and no one knows what's there, and suddenly you turn on the light. And that's going to look very messy. You're not going to find a clean basement when you suddenly turn on the lights. Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It just means that there are a lot of things to clean up. And I feel that's what's happening in the world right now. What we're seeing, it's getting exposed. It looks very dramatic. Oh my goodness, they're doing this. Oh my goodness, they're doing that. Well, the thing is, most of these things they've been doing for centuries, even for 2,000 years. A lot of what we're seeing now, what's getting exposed, is absolutely not new. What is new is that is coming into the light. That's new, and that's changing by a lot. It seems to me that all the constructions are based on greed, manipulation, power, exploiting other people. One by one, if it's governments, businesses, whatever, they're having this light shine on them. And suddenly we start to see what's really happening. Did anyone really believe that someone hugely powerful would get the rest of his life in prison for raping women? I mean, come on, everybody's raped women forever. But suddenly, we're beginning to hold people accountable. Suddenly, we're beginning to hold people, governments, and businesses accountable for their actions. And that's new. So it'll look messy, and it will for a while we clean up. But it's different, and it's a change. And I feel it's super important to focus on what is being cleaned up rather than the drama of the exposure. The drama of, oh my goodness, they did that. Oh my goodness, they did that. And people think everything is falling apart because suddenly we have all this information about what's been happening in this dark basement. But the only thing that's happening right now is that we actually know it's out in the open, it's being aired, we can clean it up. So that's a different way of looking at it. Maybe we should celebrate every time there's, oh my goodness, they were doing this for 2,000 years, or did you know that this has always been around? Maybe we should celebrate these headlines and say, yes, another piece of junk to clear up and clean up. So that's a different way of looking at it. Anyway, we have another 10 years ahead of us of the roller coaster, and then hopefully it should be tapering off by a lot. So anyone who's young right now have their work cut out for them, because they're going to be the new leaders. And all of us who were born before 1987 chose, I believe, to come into this world knowing that we would probably be part of the self-destruction, that our lives would be cut short somewhere around 2012 in some way. Atomic bomb, hugely destructive pandemic where people died in much different numbers than we're seeing right now. There are lots of ways we could have killed ourselves off and restarted. And somehow it's in our DNA. When we chose to be born in this time, when we chose to incarnate at this time, a ahead of 1987, we did so with the knowledge that we probably would not live that long. But maybe it would be different this time. There was always this maybe, always this small chance that maybe this time it would be different and we would be able to continue rather than restart, and we were. But I think that just like with me, there's a lot of people born before that 1987 who feel this is just another circle. This is just another round, because that is what we came into the world knowing. And our knowledge needs to get updated, because that's not where we are anymore. Things changed. So welcome to the new cycle. And welcome to another 10 years of intense changes. Thank you for now.